Jeremy Bentham, February 15, 1748, June 6, 1832. Jeremy Bentham was born in Houseditch, London, into a rich family. He was often seen as a smart kid who liked to sit and read multi-volume history books of England. He began to study Latin when he was 3. He had one surviving brother, Samuel Bentham, who he was close to. He went to Westminster School, and when he was 12, he went to the Queen's College in Oxford. When he was there, he completed both his bachelor's and master's degree. Later in his life, when the Americans published their Declaration of Independence, the British wrote an argument, which was authored by Jeremy himself. One of his many thoughts about social reform was designed for a prison building that he called the Panopticon. The meaning behind the design is to allow an observer to observe all inmates of the building without them being able to tell whether or not they were being watched. Bentham thought the basic plan could be used in both hospitals and schools, but most of his effort put into prisons. Bentham himself described the Panopticon as a new mode of obtaining power of mind over mind and quantity hitherto without example.
Jeremy put most of his work into the philosophy of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that says all good actions should end in happiness. It can then be considered a form of consequentialism, meaning that the worth of an action is decided upon its outcome. Utilitarianism was described by Bentham as the greatest happiness principle. It can also be best described as seeking the greatest amount of good or happiness for the greatest number of people.
He later invented the theory of philosophic or hedonic calculus, which is an algorithm for calculating the degree or amount of pleasure that an action can cause. Bentham believed that to tell whether an action is right or wrong, you must see if pain or pleasure is produced. The philosophic calculus could determine the moral status of any considered act. The algorithm is also known as the utility calculus, the hedonistic calculus, and the hedonic calculus.
So here we have a short clip of a few segments relating to this.
The Pain and Pleasure of Kevin and Libby. Episode 1.
Hey, would
Kevin
you guys
and
mind
Pain.
pausing it really quickly? I'm sorry. If you could just go out of full screen. Yeah. And then if you just hit the B button again, because we're a little bit off center. And I know it's not a big deal, but it's one of those things that bothers me. I just gotta hit the B button again. Yeah. And now you can go ahead and go back. Good? Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
And we're back.
Episode 1. Kevin and Pain.
Kevin strolls down the road and notices a car that was left running. He looks around to make sure that no one sees him as he decides to get into the car and steal it. What Kevin didn't realize was that a policeman saw him and is now on his tail.
Meanwhile, Kevin gets caught. He is now being brought to jail.
The policeman brings Kevin to the jailhouse and walks him to the entrance of his cell. Kevin tries to get away, but the policeman hits him to the ground. Kevin is then being watched by the sniper on the roof of the jail. Kevin now has to pay for his crime.
Kevin's action was wrong because it caused more pain than it did pleasure. He went to jail to pay for his mistake. Episode 2. Libby and Pleasure.
Libby drives along the road and notices trees that are on fire. She quickly gets out of her car and fills up a bucket with water. She then grabs her ladder and climbs up the tree and puts out the flames. Because of her good deed, she is presented with a chest of gold and treasures.
Libby's action was right, because it caused more pleasure than it did pain. She was given gold because she was good. How well were you listening?
Alright, so we have a couple of questions for you guys about the movie and how it fits in. Right here, this is Carrie's Corner. We think it's things about our philosopher that Mr. Carey in particular would be concerned about. So, first of all, how did all of Bentham's ideas fit into what happened in the video? We have some prizes for those who are willing to answer.
Oh, well, with the prison, he was being watched without realizing he was being watched, and that was Bentham's design.
Okay. Now, specifically to, like, his metaphysics, human nature, and political organization, and ethics. So, like, what did pain and pleasure have to do with why each person did their actions? Why did, like...
When he stole the car, did he think that he would get more pleasure than pain from it, but then he didn't realize that the cops saw him, so it backfired?
Exactly. So, in the end, he ended up not getting more pleasure than pain because pleasure than pain because he went to jail, which is exactly how Bentham believed that he could, like, control people's moral actions. Like, it says in his political organization that freedom is good and laws are bad, but what it also said was that freedom is good until it infringes on the freedom of others. So, Kevin was free to steal the car, but that infringed on the person who owns the car. So that's why he ended up having to pay. How about Libby? What did this philosophy have to do with her?
She did a good deed, and she got pleasure from it.
Got pleasure from it. So she did something pleasurable for the community.
Yep.
And it ended up in a civil law that gave her pleasure. Lastly, what do you think the worldview of our philosopher would be? Like classical, modern, or postmodern? Brett?
Well, I think with his idea that, like, an action is good if it brings pleasure and it's bad if it brings pain, that kind of implies that there's more than one, like, right way to go about things, and there's more than one bad way to go about things. So I'd say it's definitely, like, kind of a postmodern view.
Postmodern for the individual, but, like, holistic